Chargers held 2 days of workouts here at the University of San Diego. Burning question. Why did they come here? Did they think that this community was going to forgive and forget about what Dean Spanos did to 55 plus years of loyalty in San Diego? They reach out trying to sell season tickets to Charger fan. Did they come here because of Jim Harbaugh's history at the University of San Diego and his brief history as a end-of-career quarterback with the Bolts? At the end of the day, I don't understand why they came here. They're not accepted here. That owner's not beloved here. I follow them. I cover the Chargers still. They are still watched on television, only about 50% of the viewership that they used to have when it was the San Diego Chargers. At the end of the day, nobody can forgive nor forget what that owner did to this community, and yet they're here for at least 2 days. I thought it was strange. I thought it was weird. I wrote a column on my website. You have to go find my one man's opinion column. I posted it. I'd like you to read it. You can respond via email to me personally or respond through this podcast. But your reaction to what they did. On the field, really good quarterback, Justin Herbert. On the field, back-to-back what they think are potentially good drafts by Joe Ortiz. On the field, they got problems. Now Jim Harbaugh confirms running back Najee Harris may not practice at all in preseason. So they had indicated, I was told, that he had bruising around the eye, the aftermath of the July 4th fireworks incident. Might he have a fractured orbital bone? That's a different injury, which means you can't have contact. That's the reason why now Jim Harbaugh's dropped the thing. He may not be with us in training camp at all. Wow. Now, they got the insurance policy, the rookie Omarion Hampton. You're going to get a chance to see him next Thursday in the Thursday night Hall of Fame game against the Detroit Lions. He's big, and he's north-south, and he's got an extra gear, and he's 221 pounds. And they just signed a dart and dash running back, Nyheim Hines, who had done well in Indianapolis, went to Buffalo, was a role player, and then got hurt in a jet ski incident, suffered a bad knee injury, hasn't played in 2 years. Hines just signed this week. So suddenly, I'd really be concerned just about the situation with Najee Harris, that he's not practicing at all. That means he's not going to start the season. One other sidebar note, I don't know if you saw the video that was posted. Phillip Rivers announcing his total retirement from the National Football League. He will be honored, obviously. By the way, when the Chargers go to the Hall of Fame next Thursday and the ceremony next weekend, that will be for Antonio Gates, San Diego Charger tight end. And Phillip Rivers, who is retired. That's San Diego Charger quarterback Phillip Rivers. Nothing to do with the team in Los Angeles. So it's been an interesting week, but I don't understand the theory we're coming down here to, why? You think you're going to draw people? First of all, they sealed off USD. Unless you were in the military or you were a season ticket holder to LA Charger football, you were not honored in the stadium. Whole thing was ridiculous. They could have handled it very differently, I thought. Read my one man's opinion column. I have a right to tell you what I feel, what I think. Tom Krasovic of the Union Tribune wrote 2 columns about it, a little bit pointed. Mine came at you with hand grenades. So just feel free to respond to that Charger situation. Miami Dolphins, next topic on the table. They got a problem. This thing looks like it's about to implode. You know, they've had players come and go. They've dumped players out in the street. They got this ongoing off-the-field issue with Tyreek Hill and the baby mamas and his problems off the field, and then his comments in the offseason. And Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback, went public yesterday and said, Tyreek Hill's got to rebuild bridges, rebuild relationships in this locker room. This thing does not look good. This right now under Mike McDaniels looks like it could implode. And Tyreek Hill admitting, I have to have a better version of myself around my team and make better decisions off the field, because he's made a lot of bad decisions. Miami's got problems. I don't think they got enough in the roster, and they get these internal problems. Cincinnati, you need to explain this to me. This contract stuff with Mike Brown, the owner, and his star players goes on and on and on. You know about the Trey Hendrickson, the Pro Bowl defensive end, who's got a year left on a contract, grossly underpaid. He wanted the extension. He wants to be paid some of the state-of-the-art money. They jerked him around in Cincinnati. The ownership said you should be lucky you got this contract. Damn guy's got 35 quarterback sacks in the last 2 seasons, and he's like the 15th highest paid defensive end in the league. Well, they sat down, and yesterday they offered him a contract extension, offered him 1 year. So he's got his underpaid contract for 25. They offered him a 1-year extension with a bump to 26. None of it is guaranteed. None. How can you treat your star players like this? And by the way, the number 1 draft pick is not in camp, has never come to camp, because they tried to change the language in his contract, which would be different than the language in any other rookie contract in the National Football League. I just don't understand Cincinnati doing this. Trey Hendrickson packed his bags. Hendrickson is being fined $50,000 a day. Misses a preseason game, it's going to be $877,000 in lost salary. And Mike Brown's only response is, well, we have rules. Those are NFL rules. Pay your guys. And Joe Burrow stood up this morning and indicated, we support Trey Hendrickson.
Good. And
Burrow supported the wide receivers who finally got their contracts. And, of course, Burrow finally got his contract. The way Mike Brown does business, to me, it's an abomination. So that's that. Raiders, a lot of excitement. Pete Carroll, new quarterback. The running back, Ashton Genty. But defensive side of the football, they lost a ton of guys on the back 7. They got to fill those holes. And now one of the guys in the defensive front who started last year, played well, and then got hurt and has not come back. Christian Wilkins is not going to start the season. Here's their big stud defensive tackle that plays alongside Max Crosby. They just announced yesterday he's not going to be ready for the start of the season. He fractured a foot a year ago, and he's had setbacks. He's in and out of a walking boot. He can't practice. He can't play football, so that's not a good situation. Rams, I don't know if they're holding their breath on this. Matthew Stafford not practicing this first week. He's got back stiffness that has flared again. He had it during the course of the season. He's had it in the past. They're just going to let him gauge how much he thinks he can do without pushing the envelope, because they've got themselves 5 more weeks to get him ready for the start of the season. They don't know what's going to happen at left tackle. Alaric Jackson, starting left tackle, has got blood clots. He's not practicing either. I would assume he's not going to be ready for the start of the season. And again, guys in camp, first day contact workouts, guys are going to hurt. Jets quarterback got hurt. Justin Fields down, dislocated toe, second practice early this morning, gone. They don't think there's a fracture, but he's got a dislocated toe. That could knock him down for a large chunk of the next 2 to 4 weeks. That's not good. So that's news and notes around the National Football League. Why did you think the Bolts came here for 2 days?
I mean, to me, it's just not reading the room, you know. It's typical of Spanos, you know. It just defies logic why you would do that. But I don't know. Is he stroking the military to try to build a relationship? Does he think he owes it to his season ticket holders to have a special event in San Diego? I mean, because there's a million other places he could have gone. Why San Diego?
Does he think 8 years removed that people feel better about him now? You're kidding me.
I mean, they were lighting Charger gear on fire in front of the Chargers headquarters not too long ago. Yeah, that's unbelievable.
So that was an absolute stunner to me. I think he'd like working for Mike Brown.
You know, the way you're describing that, I mean, have you ever worked for a boss or worked for a company whose president that everyone hated? I mean, that culture doesn't work, you know. I mean, I get that these owners are trying to like be careful with their money and they don't want to get screwed over on these bad deals, but you've got to create a positive energy around your team. And if you've got an owner that everyone's upset about, I mean, it's not like you're going to have a Major League Cleveland Indians moment where they're all going to win in spite of the owner. Usually they're going to say, screw that. So, I mean, it's a shame, and they're going to end up wasting more of Joe Burrow's career.
Exactly. It's terrible of me to say this, but I have to say it. Paul Brown will come up out of the grave and fire Mike Brown if he could.
Is that a son or a grandson?
Son.
Okay.
Jeez, it's awful in Cincinnati. Okay, that's all things National Football League. The question, The question right now on the fans forum chat box for Charger fan, NFL fan. It's been 8 years since they left in the middle of the night to go to LA. Can you forgive Spanos for what he did? Or will you never forget what he did? You tell me. Fans forum chat box is open.
I have a comment though about the Rams. Just a quick one.
Go ahead.
Isn't it weird how Stafford is having back spasms, and yet I see him and his wife in bed on my TV all the time doing mattress commercials? You know, I don't know, is it Sleep Firm or one of those companies? So I don't know. That could be a weird thing. I mean, for his endorsements.
Nah. He's had these problems for years. They're going to manage it. Sean McVay has to answer the question. He's not here. This is why he's not here. We'll reevaluate him next Monday. We expect him to be back in practice. He'll be ready for the start of the season. They're letting him manage how he feels.
Who's their backup?
Their backup right now, well, they had Stetson Bennett, and they got Jimmy G.
Okay, so Jimmy G's still there.
Till he gets hurt.
Okay. All right.
That's where we are. That's all things NFL.